You're a good person. It's important that I tell you that. This entire podcast is built around an acronym that I made for the word yield. It stands for Yes, I, Envision, Love, Demonstrated. This acronym has helped me a ton in my work, school life, and in pursuing my passions and being able to help other people, as well as growing my habits and becoming a better person. My biggest hope is that this podcast will help you to treat the opportunities and the people in your life differently. Learn to yield today, and it'll be a better tomorrow. What's up, everybody? This is Dallin, Candland. We are back with Yield Today, the Yield Roundup, third episode. I apologize for getting this out so late. This has definitely been the hardest Yield Roundup episode to record, and that's because I've put it off for so long. I've had all these different projects and different things for school, and just a lot of demands on my time and trying to figure stuff out, trying to work on my book, and trying to do a lot of other things all at the same time. And when the time came for finally making this episode, when I needed to do it, like a week or so ago, it was just really hard to get started. So I made this chart that is going to break it down, which will really help me with talking about what I want to talk about in these Yield Roundup episodes, so you guys can get back to loving life and just hopefully finding joy, because it's there. You know, sometimes you really have to look, and sometimes you just need to choose to be a little bit more patient with yourself and kind of use some of the resources you already have to get the results you want, instead of going with something new. I love the thought that you're the main creative authority for your life. I've had a lot of people in my life who've really helped me out with growing my ideas and stuff, but at the beginning, it was my idea, and maybe it was an answer to prayer. God helped me out with that process because I had good desires and stuff, but, you got to give yourself some credit. With that said, let's hop into this Yield Roundup. Let's talk about my goals for this past month. So my goals were to jump rope more, finish the first draft of my book, and to make the intro and the outro for this podcast. I'm starting to laugh a little bit because jump roping, it did not happen. It was so cold, like October 15th or something. It was snowing. It was bad. And I just decided no to jump roping. So I'm trying to build up my physical fitness in other ways right now. But jump roping was a good try. I do love jump roping. It's just pretty cold right now. As far as finishing the first draft of my book, what's crazy was I'd write a little bit of my book and I'm like, I don't know. And I get all these thoughts. I've had 4 different book ideas come into my mind in the last 3 weeks that I've tried to run with. And then I'm like, you know what? This isn't it. But I decided Friday, and it's going to happen because I have so much desire to make it happen. And I do have the time. I just have to prioritize. I just have to make it happen and prioritize it. And so I'm excited for that, and excited for you guys to read it and to glean what you need from it so you can improve as well and grow in your lives. Making the intro and the outro for this podcast, that went pretty well. One Saturday, I was just like, you know what? Let's just make an intro, and hopefully you enjoy it. I think it's kind of cool. There's definitely ways it can be improved, and it will improve in the future. But yeah, overall, I'm pretty pleased with it. I think it's pretty powerful, pretty cool. Outro is going to come later. I don't want to make a set goal of, hey, I'm going to get the outro done at this time. I have other things I want to work on that are a priority. So with that said, let's hop into some of the yield moments for October. October was amazing. I kept very good track of people I met, events, and different things I did. For one thing, me and Aaron, my roommate, we went to a mission reunion since we were missionaries together in some parts of eastern Idaho. They did this little mission reunion where the person who did serve as the mission president was there with a bunch of other missionaries. And I told him about my podcast. Like, dude, this is sick. Like, this is awesome. It's like, Dallin, you're doing some great stuff. This is great. And so many people are like, Dallin, I love your social media posts. I love everything you're doing, Dallin. Just keep it up. It just blew me away. I could not believe it. It's just a perfect testament that the environment you're in makes such a big impact on you and your mood and what you're able to accomplish. Each of these people that said these things to me has influenced me for good in some way or another, and they're all doing different things. They're all, doing different stuff. One of them's working in construction, another one's a marketing manager. They all do these different things, but they were willing to tell me that and give me that feedback. It was wonderful. It really was. But there's a couple stories I want to share really fast. Let me know if you guys like the yield moments, the goal analysis, the key takeaways, whatever you like the most. Anyway, so on October 12th, 2019, it was a Saturday. I had a lot going on. I have this friend. I worked with her a little bit at Pathway, and she's super awesome. And she was getting married. She sent me a wedding invitation. I got to see them get married in the temple, which was unforgettable, an amazing experience for me. And just to see her and her now husband so happy is super cool. But anyway, that night I went to their wedding reception. And there's just a ton of food, and just, it was heaven for me. Like, they had so much food, like donuts and Italian soda that you can make yourself. I did spill some on my pants, but thankfully the stain remover my mom got me came in handy. And there was tons of people too. Awesome people. And I got to talk to this one friend of her husband, and he's going on a mission soon. So I had a good talk with him, and it was pretty awesome. I just felt like I was needed in that moment for this kid, and he's on his mission now. So it's just amazing how fast time goes by. You need to take advantage of those moments, because now that dude is on a mission and he's serving the Lord. He's doing what he wants to do and giving his all for those 2 years. And there's not really any way I can reach him besides through email. And I didn't reach out to him in time to get his email. So I'm just kind of like crossing my fingers. He sees my Facebook message at some point, try to keep praying for him. But the coolest experience that happened when I was at this wedding was after. All right, so they had the sparklers and they drove off and it was all great and dandy. But I just saw this kid who was standing and was holding the door, right? And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go talk to that kid and just tell him to keep going. That's sometimes all you need to hear is like, hey, you're going to make it through this. Just keep going. So with that mindset in mind and with the yield mindset in mind, I walked over and I just shook the kid's hand and just talked with them a little bit. And I was like, I held the door open a lot for people, and it felt like I was doing nothing when I was the basketball manager. But at the same time, I felt like I needed to do it sometimes. And he's like, yeah, I'm a junior in high school. I have a lot of different classes and all these different things. He just went on and on about it. And I was like, yeah, that sounds like a lot, dude. He's like, I'm actually just holding this door because I don't want to go clean up. And I just felt for it. I was like, oh man, I wish I could clean up with you. But I think I had homework due that night. I've been really not good about keeping track of my homework, but I'm getting better at it. Just said, hey, you know what? It's okay. Sounds like you're doing a lot and it's going to work out. I wanted to do more for him, but that's sometimes all you can do. I don't even remember if I got his name, but you don't need that to make an impact. People will not remember what you said or what you did, but they will remember how you made them feel. How you make somebody feel, it goes much more beyond what you say or what you do. It's like who you are and what kind of vibe and what you portray to them, how you validate them or invalidate them. I could have invalidated him, was like, man, you don't even know what hard looks like. Like, you think that's hard? You should try to go to college and do this and that and the other. I mean, that wouldn't make him feel very good, but I think I helped him out a little bit. The other story I wanted to share came from October 29th, 2019. Man, this was bonkers. And I only use the word bonkers if it was. And it was. Here's the scene. I really wanted to work out, and I only had about 3 hours left until I had this assignment due. But being the new student mentor at BYU Idaho, I had told two of the people that I'm a mentor for their new students that I would go to their basketball game. So I went to their basketball game and had a good time there, and they ended up winning, but it was a good game, and I got some good notes while there, just about teamwork and everything, just kind of that came to my head. And then I was like, all right, cool. Well, I should go do some homework. And I was like, no, I need to exercise, because I've had this happen before. When I exercise, everything just works out. Like, I always have enough time, and somehow I just have the energy to make it happen. So I walked away, and I see this other kid shooting hoops. I think he might have been on the other team, and I just go over and I say hello. And I find out he's going on a mission and he loves basketball too. So it's like a win-win. Like, when you meet somebody on the basketball court, or for another example, if you meet somebody at Dungeons and Dragons night or something, and they have another interest that you have another mutual interest with them, then you have Dungeons and Dragons and pizza or whatever. It needs to be more specific than that. Maybe like lacrosse. Anyway, I shared a scripture with this dude and it was cool. He's like, thanks, man. And I was like, sure. I went up to the track, and this is where the yield mindset comes in again. I walk up the stairs. There's this guy on his phone, and I'm like, I don't know. And then I just walked past him, and I was like, you know what? I'll go say hello. So I went over and just like, hey, I'm Dallin. What's up? I'm just going to do some running and stuff. He's like, all right, cool, man. And then he went back to his thing. And then I went and I ran a mile, and I ran in like 6:36, which is cool because Doctrine and Covenants 6:36 says, look unto me in every thought, doubt not, fear not. I love those little scriptural connections you can make with numbers. Right after I was done, and I've completely forgotten I have homework. Not really, but I've decided it doesn't matter because I've been blessed with a healthy body, and I need to reach out to people because I've seen it over and over and over again that sometimes when I meet somebody, there's the opportunity there and you got to take advantage of it. So what I did was literally right after running this mile and I was super tired, I just went over and sat by this dude. I was like, what's up, man? I just finished running this and that in this time. And he's like, wow, that's actually really impressive. And we just talked. We had this wonderful conversation, and it was just amazing to me because my first initial thought was, man, this kid's on his phone and we're in a gym. What is he doing? But who knows, man? Who knows? So I just shared a scripture with him and had a good talk, and he loves basketball. I love basketball, and I got his number so we could do some running and stuff the next day, and I had to bail, but I'm really planning to do some stuff with him before I go home for a Christmas break. So those are my yield moments. They were pretty substantial. There were so many. I kept track of like a lot of them. It was amazing. I could literally, if I had the time, I could write a book about the October yield moments. And that doesn't mean just me yielding to the Spirit and yielding to the good to help people, but like people helping me. One super quick one, this guy Mitch, he helped my brother James and my cousin Nolan with door-to-door sales this past summer. I was just in the library just kind of feeling like, oh my goodness, too much work. I can't do this. And he walks by and he sees me, and then he walks this different path so he can say hi. And that meant a lot. It was really small, but I appreciate it. So Mitch, you're awesome. Here are my key takeaways from October. One is that there's a constant need for kindness. Like there's always somebody with a need. There's always injustices out there. We live in that kind of world where it's imperfect and people are imperfect, you know? And sometimes this can be seen like as being really great. Like, yeah, I still have a lot of progress to make. And sometimes it can just be really annoying and awful. But I was having kind of a rough day. And I think this was in October. It might have been in November. And I was walking to my next class. I'm just like, I don't want to do this. And then I just had this amazing feeling of like, but there's people that are like just struggling so hard right now. And if you keep doing what you're doing, you'll be able to make a difference for them. And it makes me think about something that Bob Morley, Brother Morley here on campus, he's one of the business professors. He's a great guy. He's going to be on the podcast. He told me, you are a difference maker. And I've tried to remember that because that's a powerful thought. You can make a difference. And I just love the thought of it. Like a difference maker. The second key takeaway I really wanted to share is that you can only connect the dots looking backwards. It's a Steve Jobs quote. Rest in peace. Just, I've seen this over and over again this month. Thinking about exactly where I'm at right now, there's been so many acts of faith and so many acts of kindness that have brought me to where I'm at. And so many moments of trusting God. Just saying, hey, I trust you know how this is going to go better than I do. And he does. I look back and I'm like, what the heck? Like, how did that happen? It's because you did this, and you did this, and you did this. One good example is when I read a scripture in the morning, and then I share it with somebody later that day, and they're like, this is exactly what I need to hear. Because sometimes you read scriptures, and you don't feel that uplifted by it. But if you share it with somebody else and what you learned, I've just learned that, like, the Spirit, the good, that love can just kind of kick in, and you can see how it helps people. And I saw that many times this month, and it was amazing. Like, people were like, I have this job interview tomorrow, and what you shared with me was just exactly what I needed, or just whatever. Just, I've seen that, and it's amazing. You just got to keep going, because you'll only be able to connect the dots when you look backwards. And there's a cool scripture with this, Isaiah 55, 8 and 9. It says, for my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. But as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. So another quick key takeaway, and this is what I'm going to end on, is the parable of the starfish. So the idea of the parable of the starfish is this kid goes out to this beach. He sees this guy. No. So this old guy goes out to this beach, right? He sees this kid. He's tossing in starfish, and he's throwing them in one at a time. And the guy asks the kid, hey, what are you doing? He's like, I'm throwing these starfish into the ocean because the tide has gone out, and the starfish can't survive without the water. If I don't throw them in, they will die. The guy says, how can you possibly make a difference? And the kid throws another starfish into the sea, and he's like, I made a difference for that one. And that's how I feel with this podcast lately and with my life in general. You're going to make a difference for somebody living the life that you want to live and living a good life, you know? It's going to help somebody find a more meaning in their life or find God. You know, it's going to do that. And just a humbling thought too with that is, what if that person you help is yourself? It's so true. Doing this podcast has helped me so much. It's helped me to prioritize and cut out some stuff out of my life completely. I didn't play any video games last week until Saturday, and it's because I just really want to get some of this stuff out there and to present it in the best way that I can. You know, that's that. That's for you, my friend. Whoever needed to hear that, that was for you. That was just for you. So my November 2019 quick look, super fast. I want to get this book finished by November 25th so I can spend a couple days kind of promoting it a little bit. My podcast hopes, honestly, are just to catch up and just do it, have fun. I don't really have anything super specific. I mean, I would like to get an outro done, but I don't really want to set that as a goal. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave it more open for now. And the other things coming up, of course, there's the interview with Brother Morley coming up. And yeah, the book's going to be coming out. It's going to go along really well with the podcast. So I think you guys will enjoy that all a lot. I've actually started doing 20 push-ups every day. So I'll do 10 in the morning and 10 at night, in addition to everything else that I do. And I also want to go to the gym more with my roommate Sam, because he's awesome and he's helped me out a lot. So my goals would be to finish my book by November 25th, to do 20 push-ups every day except Sunday, and then to go to the gym with my roommate Sam, we'll say 8 times before the next Yield Roundup. That's all I have, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Rate this podcast on iTunes. It helps us get the word out. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow the Instagram page at Yield Today with Dallin Podcast. And the YouTube channel is Yield Today with Dallin Candland Podcast. Thank you all so much for listening. Yield today, and it'll be a brighter tomorrow.